Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we are doing another double name monster mash. So today I'm going to be collecting a couple double name monster mashes from my Twitch community. They're going to vote, and then I'm going to draw that creature. So basically how this works is I take an existing animal name like a tiger shark, and I dissect that and make it two separate animals that I mash. So the first one I did was literally a tiger and a shark mashed together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna collect a couple of different ideas from the Twitch chat, put them in the straw poll, have them vote, and then that's the one I'm gonna be creating today. All right, Twitch chat, go ahead and send me your suggestions and let's get this started. So the Twitch chat has voted, and their options were a tarantula hawk, a spider monkey, a bullfrog, a lionfish, and a tiger beetle. So let's see what they picked. And it is a tarantula hawk. This thing is gonna be frightening, and I'm so excited. So I will literally take a tarantula and a hawk and mash them together. So first we're gonna do a couple different rough sketches combining different aspects of the tarantula and the hawk and just mixing and matching them and seeing what works and going from there. So basically what I do for this part of the process is I basically just regurgitate anything that comes to mind and put it on paper, which is anything from the obvious to the not obvious. One of the best techniques that I've learned in terms of concept arting is to just get out your ideas no matter what and then just keep pushing them. So the first one I thought of was just hawk body with wings with tarantula legs, and I was like, oh, that's okay. And then I kept pushing it and I tried something that really exaggerated the proportions, like elongating the torso so it looked like the torso was the hawk and then the back end was more of the tarantula, so it had a centaur type of feeling. And then I also went with a griffin look, going with the hawk theme and incorporating it with the tarantula. And then finally, I pushed myself to do something a little bit different that I probably wouldn't have thought of, which is incorporating multiple wings to match the multiple legs of a tarantula and trying out different ligaments that would be in multiples. Okay, so I'm all done with the rough sketches, and I have 4 different options, and I like a lot of aspects from each of these. But I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this over to the Twitch chat to see which general look they like the most, and then I think I'm gonna take a couple different aspects from the different ones and incorporate it to the final choice. Okay, the Twitch chat has voted, so let's see what they picked. And it is number 3, so this like griffin type one right here. So I like this one a lot, but I think I'm also gonna incorporate the eyes from number 4, like the set of 8 eyes. I really like that, so I think I'm gonna bring this aspect over. This one is like super creepy, and I know I'm probably gonna trigger a lot of arachnophobias on my channel, so I apologize, but be prepared for scary spiders. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So now that we have the final rough concept figured out, it's time to do some new sketches and kind of push the pose a bit. Recently, I've been trying really hard to do more dynamic poses because I noticed in a lot of my older monster mashes, it was as if they were just kind of standing in a museum, and that was kind of boring. And I know that's one of my biggest faults, is doing not interesting and dynamic poses. So one of my recent goals has been trying really hard to push myself in doing different and interesting poses, whether it's a character in action or they're interacting with their environment somehow. So for this one, I thought of this tarantula hawk swooping in on its prey, and I didn't really have any type of prey in mind when I was making this, but along the way I was like, oh, you know what, why don't we do like a bull or a cow or something? And at first I was trying to do a bullfrog because I wanted to do another monster mash, but I was like, no, you know, let's save that one for another day. Let's just do a bull, so then the main focus is on the tarantula hawk. And I'm really glad I did that because I just love the juxtaposition of this cow, which you know is a pretty big animal, and then you look up at this thing and you're like, oh wait, holy crap, this thing is huge, because if the cow is that size, then this thing is massive. And I just really love how this pose turned out. I felt it was just the right amount of dynamic and interesting, and it really incorporates with the background later on in this piece. But at least for now, the rough sketch is done, and then I jump into the line work. I actually really love doing line work. It's one of my favorite things to do on any piece, and I hope to be doing some traditional line work soon, but besides that, I'm doing it digitally with the Kyle T. Webster Clean Comics brush, and I absolutely love his brushes. I'd really recommend checking him out. I talk about it a lot on Twitch when people ask me like what brushes I use, but I don't know if I've actually covered it here on YouTube. So if you guys are ever interested, just Google Kyle T. Webster. He has his whole brush pack. He has multiple different brush packs. I just have the Mega Pack, which has a couple of different painting settings, which I use later on in this piece specifically and in other pieces. And then he has ones for comics with halftones, and if you want specifics like watercolors or oils, he's got a lot, and they're all pretty amazing, so I'd highly recommend checking him out. I also noticed one thing while I was doing the line work is something I'm probably gonna have to brush up on. I'm a little bit rusty when it comes to doing feathers and bird anatomy. I think I should probably start doing some more studies again because I haven't really done a lot of birds recently. So I'll probably do that as a side thing in my sketchbook, but I just noticed my feather layering isn't as clean and isn't as realistic as it used to be, but I still love how this one looked. It just made the wings look like they were flaring up and catching a lot of wind so it could slow down and grab its prey before it rockets back up into the sky. And I decided to make the cow look at the tarantula hawk like it's the very last second right before it's scooped up. I know a couple people in the Twitch chat were recommending maybe it should just look obliviously or is eating, and I'm like, no, I kind of like the idea of it's like looking at it right before it gets scooped up into these giant claws. And in this part of the painting, you might be noticing that I'm adding a little bit more line weight. So this is to emphasize what's closer to the camera. When you add line weight to a piece, it's usually to emphasize something that's closer. The thicker the lines, the closer it is to the viewer, and the thinner the lines, the further away it is. That's because when something is closer to us, it's much more in focus and not blurry. Because typically when you're focusing on one thing in the foreground, everything else behind it starts to blur out and your eyes don't focus on it as much. So one way to replicate that with your drawings is to make the line art thicker and then thinner when it goes further back. So now I've jumped into coloring, and I had a lot of fun coloring this one. What I decided to do was follow the general look of a tarantula. I forgot which breed of tarantula it was, but it has this really beautiful orange and brown speckling or patches all over its body, and I really, really like how this one looks, and it blended really well to the look of a hawk. The hawk I was referencing in particular is a tan hawk with different brown and darker brown and black speckles and spots on it, so I thought it incorporated really well with this dark grayish brown and orange tarantula. And then I did incorporate the 8 eyes look, but I decided to make them yellow to match the hawk eyes because a lot of hawks have these gorgeous, amazing yellow eyes, so I decided to incorporate that into this design as well. And then I decided to do a backlit look for this character. So I basically shaded the monster so then it looks like the sun is behind it. So it has this really foreboding and intense shadow. I really love how this makes it look, and it just captures it exactly how I was thinking. When this giant hawk is swooping down to its prey, it is blocking the sunlight. Since it has such a huge wingspan and is just such a huge creature, I really wanted to show this big foreboding thing, and I think the shading really helps with that. And in terms of the scenery, I decided to go with kind of a deserty, pasture-y look, kind of if you combine the two, mostly desert looking, just because tarantulas are actually a very common species here in Arizona, so I just kind of pictured this thing living and existing here in Arizona. I also made the background kind of simple so then we wouldn't distract too much from the monster, and I just added a couple little fun touches like the shadow of the creature reflecting onto the ground, some cacti, a fence, and just little things to really make this feel like this creature was living in a real world. right, so we're all done with this Monster Mash, and I think this looks really awesome. And I kind of put it in an Arizona setting because how I picture it is, so you're just some humble little cattle farmer and you go out to mosey on up your herd and you're taking them all back, and all of a sudden, the Arizona tarantula hawk comes in and swoops up your prize bull. That would suck. So with that story in mind, I thought it'd be kind of fun to put it in this kind of Arizona pasture setting, and I just love how it looks and I love how it turned out. So as someone in the Twitch chat pointed out, I made the background a little bit more desaturated, so then the figure is much more apparent and the background wasn't clashing with it. Since it's such a big, aboding, shadowed figure, if I put a bright or really intense background to it, it would have kind of competed for what was taking spotlight. So overall, this piece was a lot of fun, and it was a really fun challenge to incorporate the hawk and the tarantula, and I just love how it looks. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by and checking out this video. And if you aren't already, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have new videos every week. And if you guys would like to participate in any other future live Monster Mashes, go follow me at twitch.tv/KMcCaigue. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.